The problem with grace is there is a doctrines of grace and theology about grace rather than experiencing grace. Therefore you get people who believe in grace who have totally opposing views, who are calling that sort of grace greasy grace. That's not real grace, because in reality grace is not the power to keep on sinning, keep on living in lost identity, which is what they seem to think it's in that theology. It's actually the power to not. It's the power to live according to our new identity, not our old. And grace doesn't excuse living from lost identity as if, it doesn't matter, because it matters. It's going to hurt people and us. What grace is a divine enabling power to live in our new identity, not excusing our old as if it covers, it's like grace covers that sin. No, it doesn't cover that sin. Our lost identity is our lost identity. And if we live in it, we're going to have the consequences of living in it. But God's grace is to enable us to not living it, and therefore to live in the reality of triumphant mercy as well as limitless grace, which then can deal with those areas where we have lived in our own understanding. Mercy triumphs over that understanding, and therefore even some of the consequences can be removed. Certainly spiritually, it definitely removed, and God will rewrite our timeline. Because how can you keep a record of our lives and not keep a record of wrong? We can. So our lives don't have any record of wrong, which is why our scroll is completely always purged by fire. Only gold, silver, and precious stones on our scroll when we engage God. Not the wood, hay, and the straw, consumed by fire. Religion will always get you looking at the wood, hay, and straw that you're going to be better because you're not good enough, rather than rejoicing in the gold, silver, and precious stones where you were expressing God's heart. So it's this whole dimension really, which always goes back to works. And we just need to enjoy the relationship, and God will unveil and reveal everything we need to know so we can enjoy this life and fulfill who he says we are, without having to go through all of the hoops that we need to jump through, either in receiving our salvation or his salvation. More accurately, he's the one who owns the salvation. I just receive it from him, or any of the other things that we continue to do after we're saved. All of that then becomes a work if you're not careful. If you don't realize it's free, then you work for it. And so many Christians are working for what's already free and in bondage to that type of lifestyle. We need to just encourage people to experience God. Then the full understanding of grace will be how we live, not what we know, as a particular doctrine of grace. Grace is to be experienced, not doctrinized. It's like that just creates a theory about what it means rather than the experience of it. When you've experienced it, you don't have any doubt about the theory. You know the truth because the truth has set you free. But it is very difficult because most of the Christian world has been indoctrinated and still is. But encounters are coming. And they're revealing. And some of it is encounters outside of the church because it's easier for God to encounter people outside than in sometimes, because they're not conditioned in the same way. They'll have their own conditioning that God will renew their minds over, but they may not be conditioned in the same way. And I do not want to teach people theology and doctrine, so they'll have to get deprogrammed from it again. I just want to encourage people to have a relationship with God, intimately knowing God deeper and deeper, and knowing themselves deeper and deeper. That is where true joy comes from. It doesn't come from keeping rules or duties or obligations. More deep water today. I'm sure you'll get me in trouble with people. Sometimes you get some comments on these YouTube videos and you rejoice in the fact that they've helped somebody. There was a lady who wrote one the other day, and she was just like, so blessed me just to see that there'd been benefit to someone, that set them free from some ideas and thoughts that they had that had kept them in bondage. And I just thought, that's what it's about. If I help one person, it's worth it.